Fox Footy.
Our watch listers to set us up for what's in store this round. Lee Montagna, Joey, welcome.
Joey.
David King, hello.
He's big on his music too, don't worry. He shakes with the best of them.
Last week we had Port Adelaide. We didn't have to worry about their defensive structure. They just stood it in the middle and made the rest of that.
Well, that's right. We'll see them against the real good teams.
We will. All right, Essendon is on your list here.
Right.
It's a deep dive into what they're doing.
Yeah, so having a good look at the Bombers and what's going wrong, and the more you look at it, the more you think, you know what, this is a long way from the finished product, and how long is it going to take? Because in the back of my mind, I had that they're a pretty good offensive model. And then you think, OK, there's some problems with defence. They tried to fix that with Ben Mackay. They've gone and got Dersman, they've gone and got Gresham, and Goldstein's a different discussion, but the messaging was this may be an 8-year discussion. But we're looking at how they're playing today and what they're doing. So let's go through some numbers.
The Randons.
Yeah, that's the boys have played around with the words up there. I just think they're a mess. I think the Bombers have got so much work to do everywhere. And you look at their clearance game's really strong. Third best team in the comp for clearances, and they score. Their balance sheet on clearances is really good. So leave that to the side for a moment. They can't move the ball. Well, we've talked about their ability to move the footy. Last year, second best in the competition. So they threatened teams all the time. They were out and gone. It was the express machine, really, out of there. This year, they're second last. And you look at it and think, why? And I'll show you some vision in a moment and try and get some answers, because it's hard to see. There's no real clear evidence. And we know their problems. When they go inside 50, they're 18th at outmarking their opposition. 18th. They've won 1 of 22 one-on-ones. But they can't stop the opposition moving the ball, as we know. We've seen that year on year. This has been the same Essendon for years, not being able to defend opposition ball movement. You thought the D50 would improve with Mackay going in there. They're 16th at conceding scores once the opposition go in there now. And they're 10th. They were 10th last year, so they got worse than what they were last year.
And he's been a real plus for him.
Well,
one-on-one he is, intercepting.
That's why you've gone and got him. So what are you getting out of that move? I know it's very early, but this is what we do. And you look at their D50 one-on-ones are really poor as well, 15th in the competition. So what's going on? They're being saved by accuracy and scoring from forward 50 stoppages. Two things that are so flighty that you can't bank on week to week. So let's have a look at their offensive stuff, because this is the area of the game that's deserted them this year, and I don't know why. I have no idea why. I'll look down the line. So if you're going to play wide, where is your targets? Because if you don't have tall targets or reference points, every play ends up being manufactured on the run. And you have to try and use your kicking skills. And let's be fair, a couple of their players have failed the test. They set up the game for Nick Martin, has failed the test. He's rated 143rd in the competition at the moment for ball use. Mason Redman, 151st in the competition for ball use. So this year, Draper leads in. Draper's the ruckman. That should be a midfielder or a flanker type. He should be long down the lines. His opponent goes to where the ball's going to go, puts a block on for Butters, and away they go again. So what is that? And then you see the same thing here. Like you're coming out wide, long down the line. They've had plenty of time to get organised. There's no tools. So I just wonder if this is the plan, fine, but it ain't working. It can't be the plan. This is a slow switch across the goal face. They've had plenty of time to get organised. Same thing again. There's no one down the line. There's no tall targets for this kick here. So they have to try and manufacture, and that's where you go wrong. If you go with random play, you get random results.
Do you think they're the number one short kicking team in the comp?
Setting the field to kick short.
Yeah. Do you think they're setting up the field to go short? That's their chosen mode of play.
It gets taken away from them.
And last week, Port Adelaide went one-on-one, and they fell in the hole. There's no free players.
Yeah, but I watch Joey's stuff every week. We knew they were going to go one-on-one. They're a one-on-one team.
They weren't in the first quarter. They changed it a quarter time.
I'm not sure about that. No, Port Adelaide have been one-on-one all year.
Yeah.
I think Redmond's been hurt by Nick Martin.
Yeah.
Well, that's the question. So have you set the game up for the right man?
Yeah.
These are decisions.
Great question.
Yeah, you had the guy that was nearly all-Australian wingman last year, Martin. You put another player in Dersman who you've gone and got for that role. So when you start getting those things wrong, or they're not working, where to then?
They have to go back and they start double-thinking themselves, don't
they? Exactly. McGrath's been really good down back and as a counter-punch machine, and Heppel's been OK. But in terms of kicking the footy, Martin and Redmond are nowhere. So I don't know how they correct and how long it takes, and I know that 8 years has been said by them. I don't know whether that's a true figure or not. But this is a club that's not rebuilding. So what are they? Where are they? So I think there's a lot of tough conversations that need to be had at the Bombers.
You love nothing more than playing with the magnets, you two. And now Isaac Henny's the poster boy for it, Joey.
Well, it is. It's easy for us sitting here, but just off the back of the start to Isaac Heaney's year, and you think about Jordan Dawson, the impact he had last year, and what Hayden Young's doing at Fremantle, and there's others in the past. I mean, Cam Guthrie moving from a back pocket to a midfield. It makes you think about, if you give some players opportunities into the midfield, the difference that they could make for their team. And you start thinking now about some players, and you know one that I could throw up at Essendon? Mason Redman, his career has never been in a centre square bounce. He got drafted as a utility, a player that burst late in the scene as someone could play forward, mid or back. He's a player without Setterfield and Archie Perkins. Why not just give Mason Redman a chance and say, you know what, let's see what you can do as one of the leaders of the club. You've got a bit of that edge about you, some athleticism and some speed. And just see, find out, because you never know until you actually move them into these roles.
They'll give him ball movement. I don't know how great it'll be going back the other way.
Well, at least he's got a defensive slant in him. He plays as a half-back. So
he would like the other way.
But it just got me thinking about, well, who are some other players in the competition that could, if you give the keys to the midfield, the impact that they could make. So the first one I want to touch on is this guy, Dylan Moore, 2 years ago, had an elite season. He was third in the best and fairest. In fact, he averaged 20 disposals and a goal a game. There's only 5 players in the comp that have done that in the last 2 years, and we're talking Petrarca and Bontempelli, Dusty and Shea Bolton. But he was in over 100 centre bounces that year, and he averaged, as I said, the 20 disposals and a goal a game. But at the moment, he's playing as a half-forward. He's having his lowest rated season since 2020. The Hawks are really struggling for scores from the stoppage. He's only been in 4 centre square bounces. And I just think about a team like Hawthorn. They've got the same sort of type, you know, Newcombe and Nash and Warple. Why not get him in there? That modern-day player, the smalls that can zip in and out.
Dancer.
What's happened to Josh Rochelle? Like last year, he was the igniter. When him and Rankin were in the midfield, he played 5 games where he spent the majority of the games as a midfielder last year. Adelaide were 4-1, and he averaged 26 disposals, 10 contested and 3 clearances a game, 6 score involvements. He was dynamic. This year, the Vanilla Crows, he's only been himself in 2 centre square bounces, Kingy. So why is Josh Rochelle not getting more of a look in the centre square bounce and using the tricks and the skill set he's got? Because they're really struggling. They're last for scores from stoppage, Adelaide Crows, and the team that's equal last at scoring from stoppage at the moment is St Kilda. And again, they've gone back to the same sort of names with Seb Ross in there and Steele. They're throwing a few more kids in there with Windhager, etc. But this guy has only been in 2 centre bounces. Last year, he was used a lot, King. You remember we spoke about, particularly in the second half?
Yeah,
he would change up the game. He was the trigger man. He was the trigger man, and he would change up the game. But for whatever reason, this year, St Kilda haven't used him. Now, they've got Wanganeen Miller and Riley Bonner at half-back. Maybe they can. And I know you've been big on getting something different in there for St Kilda. So there's just some players that I think, give them the keys and just see what they can create.
Who do you want to see the most?
It's a good question. Maybe Sinclair as a permanent mid. He's been injured. But I think Dylan Moore's one. Think about the Errol Goulden and Zach Butters and Caleb Sarong, these little nippy blokes that get in and out of traffic that are good offensively. He could have a massive impact at the Hawks.
That's the most magnets I've ever seen played with.
On a Wednesday night.
Good work.